For me, as I've said from the beginning, the question was, what is waste? Where is it waste? And to whom is it waste? And for a large extent, we have discussed how is it waste from the previous discussion since we started. But I want to take this context to a Tanzanian context. Let's talk about this guy in Kinondoni in Tanzania. If he gets this mobile phone, which works, discarded by someone somewhere, is it waste? So basically in my project, when I was in Tanzania for a year, I was looking on first on the stream. You know, we have downstream of electronic waste that which are coming from abroad and coming to Tanzania. So basically I was trying to understand how do they arrive in Tanzania, you know, at the port, and what happens when they just arrive, what is the first thing happen. And then I've tried to understand the business of used electronics itself. Why do people prefer to buy used? Why people don't buy new electronics? And why certain group of people buy new electronics and a certain group prefer to have used electronics? And here we are talking about a lot of electronics, not only phone and computers and camera. We're talking about refrigerators, we're talking about air conditions, which are very basic in the houses and households. So that was the first part of it. And then the second part of it, I was looking on how do people tinkle with these things. You know, when a device broke, what happens? Because here, when your phone is broke, you buy a new one. Mm-hmm. You go to Telenor or wherever, you acquire a new phone. Is that the same thing happens in Tanzania? So I was working with these fundis in Kariakoo and trying to understand how first do they learn to fix, because these are not like educated in engineering, and no, these are like normal people, decided a little bit, they have creativity, they sit and start fixing, and wonderful, they can fix almost everything. New type of phone comes, it will take a month, someone will be able to fix it. So I was looking in this very small area in one street in Kariakoo, it's called Uhuru Street, which has so many phone shops, and these guys who are fixing, they are everywhere, probably around 200, 300 people in the street. So trying to understand how do they do it, where do they learn it, but also try to understand skills. What is specialization do they have there? So you find one guy is only good on hardware, another one is software, another one is on taking the screens out, you know, another one is correcting phones that were not fixable and sell it to other people, other fundis who wants spare parts. So that's what I was looking, and it's very amazing how a life of a phone can be extended so many times. A phone that died 4 or 5 times could get resurrected, compared if it was here, where we just threw it out. Does the net block? You get to Uhuru, oh, this problem, oh, Hamis can fix it. You take it to Hamis fix it. You use it 4 months, you come back again, they fix it again. So that's the second part. The third part, I was looking on repurposing. So this was not my plan to look on repurposing, but I was in Dar es Salaam, and then I met a guy, and we were talking about, I'm doing this and this and this. I was like, yeah, I know this place where they actually make cook stoves from refrigerators. I was like, wow, I would like to see that. So I went to this workshop. It's around, I don't know, 20, 30 people work in the workshop. They make cook stoves from different materials, not only refrigerators. But it was amazing how they could turn a defunct refrigerator, make a charcoal cook stove, which are very famous in Tanzania, that almost every household has a charcoal cook stove. But not only that, the compressor from the refrigerator was mined. There's copper. So outside the workshop, there are like 4 other shops of scrap metal dealers. So they buy these scraps, from metals to iron to everything. So they are buying copper, they are buying brass, they are buying aluminium, they are buying iron. So that was the second part. So trying to understand, how do they repurpose, where do they get creativity? So they have very different types of stoves, and you go there, you decide which one you want, and trying to understand why do they prefer to use a refrigerator, whatever bodies, aluminium bodies, to make these cooktops. That was the third part. The fourth part, I was trying to understand now, this the scrap dealing business, where these scrap dealers are buying from, I'll call them scavengers, not a very good word to say, but these scavengers, these guys who are going to the streets and collect all these defunct electronics. I'll talk about them later. So I was trying to understand, how do they make their business? They collect all this iron, copper, everything. How do they operate? And where do they go sell it? And when it reaches there, where does it go? So I had a chance to go to... So here's getting interesting. So there are different materials. So there are different factories, different companies buy different materials. So you have these factories which are making these metal rolls for construction, metal poles for construction. So these scrap dealers actually buy some scraps from aluminium and irons and stainless steel from scavengers for a certain price, and then they go sell it to the factory for the higher price. And then it make these metal poles. And in Tanzania, we have a construction boom, where metal poles are really needed. And then they sell it to this. So you can see how a device, let's say a refrigerator board, which was totally waste, but now it goes back and gain a new value unexpectedly.
Then this is what we call in the recycling.
Yeah, recycling. They tend to call it, there's a new term, circular economy, that things that keep going around, changing shapes. But the other part, the other stream of it, so we have these precious metals, copper, gold. There's a lot of gold in electronics, especially phones and computers. I was just reading this morning that actually, if we manage to recycle and extract these metals, we will be producing as much gold as close to the mining companies. So this will save actual environment. For example, copper mining will have to go down, and they will keep recycling the copper that we have already mined. So yeah, so I try to follow up where now this scrap dealer are going to sell the copper. I didn't get that far. The business is a little bit complicated, but what I discovered the copper comes back to Europe. Specifically, I think France, Belgium, Turkey. So you can see now the logic that we mine, for example, copper and gold in Africa. It goes to Europe, it produces electronics, it saves here the purpose, it comes as waste to us. We take all the toxins and live with us. Because when extracting copper from wires, you have to burn it. It means we are releasing the toxins, they stay with us, they stay in our body. But then the value product of it, which is copper, goes back to Europe. Now you can see where it goes somehow.